Welcome back to your Valley Sports Plug. I am your host, Chris Patrick, and this is a brand new stream for you guys. We're calling it Rants Off the Top with Chris Patrick. We're going to try something new here. It's just me tonight going off the top of my dome on the latest sports news and topics circulating around the globe and the internet in particular. So, just hope you guys are going to have a good time. Let me know what you think in the comments. Of course, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter or x.com, TikTok and Threads at AZ_VSP, right here on YouTube at Valley Sports Plug and Facebook Valley Sports Plug as well. Guys, there's been a lot going on. So the guys weren't available, and I said, I still got some stuff to talk about. We got, first and foremost, the Austin Rivers shaking up the sports world, claiming that he thinks 30 players in the NBA right now could play in the NFL. And that's pissing off a lot of current and former NFL players who seem to think differently. I'll share my opinions on that, of course. Over this last weekend, there was a roast of Tom Brady on Netflix. It's hosted by Kevin Hart, had a slew of former Patriots players, Bill Belichick, plenty of comedians. I thought it was hilarious, but of course, as all things, there is some backlash there as well. Keeping it more local, there are some news coming out with the Diamondbacks. We got some players getting healthy and questions about if the Diamondbacks are bringing players back too soon. I mean, when you're coming off a World Series with high expectations, you really just gotta go for it. So I got some thoughts on that as well. Of course, there have been a lot of trade rumors swirling with Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns, what they're going to do this offseason. Of course, I know a lot of us here in the Valley don't want to see him going anywhere, and not sure he really does either. So we'll dive into that as well, and just some other various topics that might come up as well. So guys, like I said, let me know in the chat if you got any topics you want me to go in on or discuss, and we can kind of go from there. But let's just dive right into the first topic. I'm going to pull it up here. We got this article from SB Nation in response. So first it was NBA Central, and it was on the Pat McAfee show that Austin Rivers was on. And he said that I can take 30 players right now in the NBA and throw them in the NFL. You cannot take 30 NFL players and put them in the NBA. Man, like that's 100% true. Like, I don't care. Like, you can't even say nothing to me. Like, that is 100% true. And I got some facts to back it. I mean, I don't understand. Like, first and foremost, we'll start with the criticisms, right? So you got JJ Watt here. One of the first people I saw chime in said, you don't got a job in either right now. Go ahead and try it. Well, come on, JJ. You don't have a job in either. Also, I know Austin Rivers didn't retire, but come on, don't act like he wasn't in the NBA for several years competing at a high level. And oh God, let me see if I can pull up some of these other ones. I think I saw Buda Baker also taking exception to it. This was, here we go. Let me see. I'll pull it up. Guys, like I said, first time I'm trying this, so bear with me. I'm going to try and get some visuals to go along with what we're talking about here. Man, it's crazy. Like, until yesterday, I really didn't realize just how sensitive football players really are. And it's crazy. Like, these guys, like, they got so triggered by, and I know that word's overused, of course, but look, Mark Schlereth here. This might be the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Why is it dumb, Mark? And then you got, who's Chris Patrick? He said, come on, Mark. This guy said he's right, Slim. To where Mark Schlereth even replied to this, I'm pretty sure, or he reposted it. Let's go back to Mark's page here, because literally, like, almost everything. Like, he posted this meme here. The single drill produced more basketball players than anything in sports history. So he posted it twice. He loved it so much. He found himself laughing. Where was it? Maybe he took it down. But yeah, once you start replying to people in the comments, you already lost, in my opinion. So Mark, man, like, it's funny that, again, that people are so upset by this. And I think I said Buda Baker also took exception. I was going in on, I think it was Facebook, kind of going back and forth with some people. And they all just, the football players just throw on the tough guy routine. Like you saw with them bringing up that drill. They say, oh, they're soft. If they take one hit, they'll be done. Because the perception of NBA players is they're all soft, right? The flopping, the crying, the complaining to the refs. But it's a different game. I mean, what's even more crazy, like whether you're talking about NFL players or NBA players, is they were all multi-sport athletes throughout their youth. Like whether it was middle school, high school, or beyond. Some guys were even two-sport athletes in college. So I'm not saying that there aren't NFL players out there that can ball. There most certainly are. I know one example, I think Myles Garrett, I believe he was in like the NBA All-Star Celebrity Game or something like that, held his own. Like these guys can ball. But man, like when we talk about like the barrier to entry, there are far fewer NBA players than there are NFL players, and a wider variety of skill set in the NFL. So my point mostly is like, sure, most, if not all NBA players are not going to be linebackers or linemen or anything like that, but a safety, a corner, a wide receiver, I really don't see why not. These guys are incredibly athletic. They're strong as fuck, fast as fuck. So what's to stop them from dedicating themselves to a different sport and going in on it? You know what's stopping them is their health and well-being for the future, as well as the money in their pocket. I mean, I got some stats here. The average NBA career earnings is $24.7 million in an NBA career. Do you want to know what the average NFL career earnings are? 10.4 million. So more than twice as much you can make in the NBA than the NFL. So if anybody is capable of making the NBA, why would they subject themselves to being whooped up and folded like lawn chairs in the NFL when they can earn more money and have better health playing in the NBA? I mean, there are guys, I think it was, I think I saw Anthony Edwards had made a comment around the time that he was being drafted, basically saying that he would rather be drafted by the NFL, which is hilarious because we see what Anthony Edwards is doing in the playoffs. And I think that guy is a prime example of someone who could, if he applied himself, be on an NFL team. I know a lot of people were saying like Ja Morant, explosive. He has speed. I don't see why he couldn't be a running back. I mean, look at Zion Williamson. You're telling me that dude couldn't be in the NFL? I mean, come on. Ian, one step closer to Twitch streaming. That is right. No, it's funny, Ian, because I definitely have streamed on Twitch, playing video games though, not with like the camera on me or anything. I don't got like that full setup going. But now that I got this gaming PC, I mean, you never know. If you guys want to see Valley Sports Plug, Valley Sports Plug video game streams, we can certainly get that going. Okay, thank you. It is kind of funny, right? As we were talking like what we were going to do this week, and it was kind of last minute, Ian. I did think about inviting you guys on to do a roundtable, but just didn't really quite know what we would talk about, which is funny because I guess we could have talked about all of this and gotten your guys' 2 cents on it. But that's why you're here in the comments. Support me, and I appreciate it, my brother. But yeah, so this the career earnings is one thing, and on top of the career earnings, which I'm sure this next point factors into it, is the average length of a career. The average length of an NBA career is 4.5 years, and the average length of an NFL career is almost 3.5 years. So not crazy different there. You're talking about 1 year, but 1 year, even if you're just earning like 1 or 2 million, that's significant, and I think that's another thing. It reminded me of a Daniel Tosh joke. I mean, there's guys in the NFL that play, for 10 plus years, 15 years, if you're really crazy, but most guys, like their career is like 1 to 5 years tops. And I bring up the Tosh joke because he was talking about 15 minutes of fame, and it was like that's an average. That's not everyone gets their 15 minutes. It's like 25 years. It's like it's the exact same for these leagues as well. I mean, there's guys in the NBA. You got the LeBron James who play 20 plus years or something like that, and then of course guys that come and go. Austin Rivers, he's out of the league, but I guarantee you he made some money while he was in here. Let's see if we can look up Austin Rivers' career earnings. I bet you it's more than Mark Schlereth. I'd be probably willing to bet that. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, look at this. All right, I'm going to pull this up for you guys. Now, I don't know. This has got to be pretty accurate because I imagine they just aggregate all the contracts as that type of stuff is public. But it says Austin Rivers has earned $57.3 million in his career. $57.3. Okay, now JJ Watt, I'll use JJ Watt as another example, but he's not even no Austin Rivers career earnings. Now, what do you guys think JJ Watt's career earnings is? Probably not too bad, right? We'll go to the same website, compare apples to apples here. So what was Austin Rivers? He was 57.3 million. Now I'll pull up. Oh, come on. These ads are killing me. You guys want to join the army? I guess that doesn't make sense in context. There was an ad for the army. So JJ Watt, so what do we say? Austin Rivers, 57 million. JJ Watt, 129 million. So Austin Rivers, being like the ultimate role player, earned basically half as much as JJ Watt did, who is a multi-time Pro Bowl, massive star in the league for so long. You see that contract he had there with the Texans, 6 years, 100 million, with the Cardinals, 2 years, 28 million. So it's funny to me. What do we got? Yo, Colin, what up, brother? Exactly, Mark Schlereth, what a fucking clown. And I'm not gonna bring up his career earnings because obviously he played quite a while ago. But man, Drama, did you see him just getting so butthurt? Like, they are so butthurt by this comment, and it's honestly hilarious to me. So what are some other players we can think of? I mean, Isaiah Stewart, right? He likes to fight people. He likes to be physical. He's a big body. I'm sure Isaiah Stewart, he might even be able to be a linebacker. Fuck it. I mean, like Zion, LeBron, like LeBron has always teased as at being like a football fan and wanting to be in the football mix, talks about his fandom with the Cowboys, and you always see these Photoshop pictures of him in a uniform and playing for Ohio State. He still has his college eligibility, all those jokes. Now, if we're talking about, see that I wasn't lying, guys, there's this Army ad I was talking about, but where was I going with that? Yeah, LeBron. I mean, yeah, right now LeBron couldn't be in the NFL, but at some point in his career, I'm sure he could have been. And I mean, I guess just because it's like like I said, it's a different skill set. I can't really think off the top of my head any NFL player that I would expect to be able to even with, like, if you're talking about 6 months of training, who has a better shot, an NBA player to make the NFL or an NFL player to make the NBA? I think any logical person would assume that it would be NBA to NFL. Bobby Bonilla, yeah, he made a bag. Well, he was an MLB player, right? But another point I was making online is that, like, when it comes down to the choice for young athletes and naturally gifted athletes who have to make a decision on which sport they want to go into, you got to weigh the costs, benefit and the risk benefit of it. Whereas, especially knowing what we know now with CTE and guys that can barely get out of bed in the morning because of how much they got beat up in the NFL, why, if you were capable of going to the NBA, would you not do that? And that's not even from the financial perspective I was talking about. I mean, we've seen it before. I mean, baseball is another one. Kyler Murray had the choice of being drafted. He did get drafted in the MLB, I think by the Athletics, and he decided to play football instead. Now, I think that's probably working out for him pretty good. He's made a shit ton of money too, but the guys that are making Kyler Murray money, Patrick Mahomes money, like, those guys are few and far between compared to in the NBA. You can be like the most role player, and you're still going to make tens of millions of dollars as long as you can contribute. So I just think that this argument is a non-issue. It's funny though, because I haven't really seen any NBA players comment on it outside of Austin Rivers. So I don't know if they just think like, that's obvious. Yeah, of course that's the case. Now, I will say Austin Rivers did say he thinks there's 30 guys in the NBA right now. And maybe, I mean, I couldn't think of 30 off the top of my head. Kawhi, I guess, is another one. If we're talking former NBA players also, I was reading up that Allen Iverson was an absolute stud in high school. I think I read he won 4 state championships at quarterback. Now, he could have been the original Kyler Murray if he had chose to go the football route. But even like I was talking about with guys like Anthony Edwards, I saw when he was 13, he could already dunk. So he's like, I kind of have to lean towards what I'm best at. And so he decided to continue to pursue basketball rather than the NFL. But we'll see if more people comment on this in the coming days. I'll be curious to know what everyone thinks. And maybe next time we gather everyone for a round table, I can pick your brains on it. But some other news, moving on here. We mentioned the roast of Tom Brady. It's on Netflix right now. It was live, I think, on Sunday. I watched the playback on Sunday night and then a little bit more on Monday. Guys, absolutely fucking hilarious. Like, I almost feel like comedy is back. It reminded me so much of the old Comedy Central roast where, I mean, who did they do? They did Donald Trump. They did, I think, David Hasselhoff. They did a bunch of guys. Always hilarious. Of course, they brought some of those people that did that roast, Jeff Ross being probably the most notable. He's known as kind of the roast master. He was the first out the gate. And man, did Tom Brady look uncomfortable pretty much the whole time. They were going after his sexuality. They were going after his divorce with his ex-wife. They were going on and on and on. And what I love most about the roast, it was hosted by Kevin Hart. And they don't just roast Tom. They're not just up there roasting Tom Brady for 3 hours. They also got digs in at each other. So you can imagine just so many short jokes leveraged towards Kevin Hart. There were some pretty raunchy ones about him and The Rock. I won't spoil it for you. And my delivery honestly probably wouldn't be good enough to do it justice. But this Tom Brady wasn't the only one who was looking uncomfortable. Or I mean, maybe not that, maybe just a little sensitive to the matter. When Kim Kardashian got called to the stage, she was to do a toast to Tom Brady. She wasn't roasting, she was toasting, which I didn't quite understand what the point of that was, but celebrity power sells. So they got Kim K up there. And I felt bad, guys, because like as soon as she walks on the stage, I don't even know if she opened her mouth yet. The whole crowd just started booing her. Like, brutal, to a point where I don't know if it was Kevin Hart or Jeff Ross. They grabbed up one of the mics and I was like, whoa, settle down. And then I haven't verified this, but the reports coming out today are that Kim Kardashian and her camp reached out to Netflix and had them kind of cover that up a little bit to where they actually ended up editing that out of the roast that's being replayed on Netflix right now. Here, I'll pull it up. This is from The Hollywood Reporter. Netflix edits out Kim Kardashian being booed during Tom Brady roast. The streamer has quite quietly removed a viral moment from its live roast. Yeah, so I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem with them removing it. I just think I wonder why she got so many boos in the first place. I mean, you can say what you will about Kim Kardashian and why she's even famous or why people care, but what did she do to you guys? What did she do to you? I don't think I would have been cheering, but I don't think I would have joined in on the booing of Kim Kardashian. Honestly, it's funny. Bill Belichick got a ton, like a standing O when he got brought out. He got brought out like halfway through the roast. And you're not going to boo Bill Belichick. Like, I don't understand it. Like, the guy is hated his entire career. I mean, it's like I guess it's one of those things where like you respect him as being a great coach, but like, I'm not going to say I hate Bill Belichick, but I'm certainly not going to be like, oh, well, now that he's not even retired. That was another thing. They were roasting Bill for being unemployed and his whole sneaking out of the front door with the Ring camera. Absolutely fucking hilarious. Some other high points from the roast. I mean, I thought the winner, if I were to pick a best roaster of the night, it had to be Tony Hinchcliffe. If you don't know who that is, go on YouTube, type in Tony Hinchcliffe, or Kill Tony is his show that he does on YouTube. It's a live comedy show for up-and-coming comedy artists. He does it with Joe Rogan at the Comedy Mothership in Austin, Texas. Constantly sold out. This guy, I mean, I hate to call him an up-and-comer because I think he's pushing 40, but everyone has their career, kick off at a different point. But man, Tony Hinchcliffe's set was absolutely hilarious. We mentioned Jeff Ross. Andrew Schultz did another really good set. Nikki Glazer, wasn't familiar with her, but she also had quite the hilarious few minutes up there. One that was disappointing to me was when Will Ferrell came out in his Ron Burgundy character from Anchorman. I don't know if I loved Anchorman. I even liked Anchorman 2, thought it was hilarious. But when he came out in that character, I was just expecting so much more. And I have anyone who's seen it, like, let me know. Did you think it was funny or what? I just don't know, man. Like, and why Ron Burgundy? He couldn't come out as Will Ferrell. And was that promo for Anchorman 3? Is Anchorman 3 coming out? Is that a thing? Could happen. IMDb says could happen. I don't know how long ago, from January. Will there be an Anchorman 3? Okay, so maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was just promo, a little teaser for a possible Anchorman 3. But I think I was about to talk about it, and I kind of got derailed here. Guys, this is This is Rants Off the Top, and I'm just sitting here spewing whatever comes off the top of my brain, guys. Like normally I'm sitting here driving the ship, letting all these guys talk and share their thoughts. Of course, I throw in my 2 cents every once in a while, but this is my turn to talk. Ian, what'd you think? There was a Ron Burgundy podcast a few years ago. Dude was very clearly out of ideas for that character even back then. Thank you. See, I didn't even know about that, but now that I do, I'm not rushing to go listen to that. Sounds absolutely miserable based off what I saw. And it's funny, like when you're going to dust off such an iconic character and a beloved character, why are you going to kill it? Why are you going to kill it like that? Doing like when it, like, let it rest. I mean, if you're going to come out and do an Anchorman 3, sure. But otherwise, I mean, the novelty factor, I guess it just didn't do it for me. But guys, like I was about to say, going back to what I was talking about with this roast, man, there were a lot of people that were not too happy about it. One of whom was Gisele Bunchkin. Is that her name? Tom Brady's ex-wife, because there were a lot of shots indirectly kind of towards her, or like she was the butt of some jokes, mostly talking about how she was cheating on Tom Brady with the yoga instructor and how she took whatever in the divorce, and jokes about her and Antonio Brown and certain things like that. And I didn't read any of the articles, but I saw the headlines. She was upset about it. Another one who was upset about it, maybe a little more justified, depending on your perspective, but the former New England Patriots tight end Aaron Hernandez, his ex-fiance, was pretty upset about it. Her point of being upset was that they have a daughter together. His daughter, I guess, is now 11 years old. And if anyone is living under a rock and doesn't know, Aaron Hernandez murdered a guy, maybe 2 guys, but he definitely murdered one guy and went to prison for it and killed himself in prison. I don't know if it was an Epstein thing, but he killed himself, or he's dead. He died in prison, and allegedly he hung himself. So bad guy, not for killing himself, for killing other people. And so her point was that they have this daughter, right? And she's going to have to maybe one day grow up and see that roast and see people making fun of her dad. And she really looks up to her dad. Why are you letting her look up to her dad? Like, she's 11. I think she can handle being told your dad was a bad guy. Like, he's not here anymore. He's not going to raise you, and is because of the results of his own actions. So why are you defending him? It is very confusing to me. But nonetheless, I can understand, because a lot of the jokes were about his suicide and not so much the crimes he committed. So I can understand how it might have been a bit maybe distasteful, but I thought it was fucking hilarious. Nico Woodruff, the roast is the least of that little girl's issues. Thank you, Nico. Like, she can't, like, if she ever Googles Aaron Hernandez, what do you think's going to come up? Guys, we can do this. We can do this right here in real time. Let me pull this up here. Let me pull this up and go google.com. Pull this up. Any bets? Any bets on what we might see here? Actually, okay. Now that because we're doing this now, it's probably going to be a lot of stuff about the roast, right? It's just going to be about the articles about her fiance and the roast and blah, 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 blah. But we'll do it. Aaron Hernandez. Oh, look at that. Okay. Died. Aaron Hernandez. Watch Killer Inside the Mind of Aaron Hernandez. Okay, so if his daughter has Netflix, is this documentary going to be traumatizing to the guy she looks up to? Fiance responds to jokes. He had severe CTE when he died. I don't think that comes as a shock to anybody. Yeah, so like I said, all the articles are going to be about his fiance being butthurt about it. Odin Lloyd, that was the guy he killed. I believe it was, who was it? It was someone he knew's like brother or something like that, right? Tight ends, professional. Hernandez was arrested. John Lloyd, St. Croix. I don't know. There was some relation there, but yeah, this dude was hanging out with Aaron Hernandez, living his best life, and he got murdered. Absolutely crazy. It seems like Aaron Hernandez was an absolute psychopath. I mean, is she mad at Wikipedia? Is she going to be mad at Wikipedia for having a whole section about how he killed a guy and was, look at this. Look at the double shooting, bar fight, Plainsville fight, double homicide, shooting, incidents, murder of Odin Lloyd. Okay. All right. I've seen enough, guys. I've seen enough. This is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, the first picture was him in court. Oh, Odin Lloyd was a former player? I didn't realize that. Guys, I'm thirsty. I'm not used to doing this much talking. Next time, definitely doing a roundtable. It's funny, Nico, Ian, if you guys are still hanging out, I asked Mike if he wanted to do a trivia stream, but tonight is his fiance's birthday. And so he said that he had to prioritize her over the stream. Cannot believe it. Okay. So Odin Lloyd was a amateur football player. Either way, couldn't have played in the NBA, that's for sure. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, so guys, trivia stream coming down the pipe. I mean, we're straight up in basically just baseball season. I know the NBA playoffs are going on, but locally, the Diamondbacks are the only show in town. So we're going to get that set up, guys. It was a lot of fun last time, and I think we can just continue to do it bigger and better as we push on. But with this Tom Brady roast, the last thing I'll say is you all should absolutely go and watch it. It was fucking hilarious. I've probably watched Tony Hinchcliffe's set in that like 5 or 6 times. Had me dying. A lot of edgy jokes. So if you can't stand edgy comedy, then probably not the thing for you. But I'd like to think most people that are tuning in here on Valley Sports Plug probably have a pretty good sense of humor and can understand when a joke is a joke, and that obviously it wasn't personal. I mean, Kevin Hart was up there calling Tom Brady a bitch probably 75 times throughout the course of the show. He'd literally be in the middle of some dialogue and then just go, Tom, you a bitch. Tom, you're a bitch. Like, hilarious. I honestly give a lot of props to Kevin Hart because I had kind of been disenchanted with him. It was funny. There were a lot of jokes about him basically taking any role that he's offered and basically not ever refusing a role. What's Ian doing? He's boycotting for Hernandez. He's only joking, guys. He's only joking. But hey, if it's a principal issue for you, go right ahead. So yeah, like I said, last thing I'd say, guys, go watch it. It's hilarious. Check it out. Come back to this video and let me know if you were equally as triggered as Aaron Hernandez's fiance or ex-fiance, I guess. But guys, let's pop over to a little bit of a local story here. I think if I can pull it up. Oh God, Dbacks. There's a writer for the Diamondbacks on Sports Illustrated, and his name is Jack Summers. God, am I going to be able to find this article, guys? I mean, bear with me here. 5 days, 4 days, 1 week, 1 week. Okay, I can't find the article. But basically, his point of the article that I was reading earlier today was basically saying that he's wondering if the Diamondbacks are starting to bring back their guys from injuries a little too soon. I think we saw Alek Thomas come back, and he came back for 1 game and then got sent home to be reevaluated. Actually, let me see if I can pull up that article. Alek Thomas. One day ago. All right, perfect. So Diamondbacks Alek Thomas to have more tests done on hamstring. Sewald back with the team. Diamondback center fielder Alek Thomas felt more discomfort in his left hamstring on what was expected to be the final day of his rehab assignment with AAA Reno, and the organization opted to send him back to Phoenix for more testing. So I guess it's fair to say that they were toying with the idea, right? They were trying to see if they could get him healthy. He was going through his rehab assignment in AAA, and at the buzzer got recalled and to send back for more testing. So I think if they were rushing him back, that they probably would have maybe just forced him into the lineup. But here we read on. Thomas has been expected to return from the injured list, where he has been since straining his hamstring on March 31st in time for Tuesday's series opener against the Reds at Great American Ballpark. Lavello said Thomas felt discomfort late in his game with Reno on Sunday. He walked in after the game and said, "Something's not right, and I just want to speak up," which he did, which that's good, man. These players need to advocate for themselves. When they're not doing so hot, they need to speak up. So another guy, we might circle back on Thomas here, but another guy that's come back, Paul Sewald, made his triumphant return. Did he pitch yet? Anyone know if he pitched yet? I think he came back yesterday against the Reds, which awesome Diamondbacks have been able to win 3 in a row here. 2 against the Reds. We go for the series sweep tomorrow. Let's see. Did Sewald get any action here? Let's see. So Sewald did pitch 1, and he gave up a fucking homer. Guys, holy shit. Did you know about this? Did you know about this? Let me see. It was yesterday. Yesterday, Paul Sewald, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 earned run, 1 strikeout, 1 home run. So they even eased him back into it. We were up. It looks like 6-1 scoring plays. Yeah, so we were up 6-1, low consequences, not even a save opportunity. And we're like, all right, this is a good chance for us to let Sewald dip his toes back in. Oh, speaking of toes, let's get those out of here. There's a chance for him to dip his toes back in, low pressure situation, see if he can shake off the rust a little bit, and homie gives up a home run. It's funny. It almost reminds me of the very first save opportunity he had in a Diamondbacks uniform when we acquired him last season. He did the same thing. I'm pretty sure he gave up like back-to-back home runs, if I'm not mistaken. I could be totally wrong there, but he at least most definitely gave up one. He did not pitch today, so it was a close one, 4-3. We squeaked it out. It was a little sketchy today, but no Sewald. But hopefully next time homie gets a start, he can take full advantage and actually show what he's worth. And hopefully, I mean, if it is in a more high leverage situation, hopefully that works out for him as well. So that's Sewald coming back. We optioned Scott McGuff. We fucking hate that name. Scott McGuff to the minors. Thank goodness. Get him out of here. This dude's absolutely trash. Now, next guy, we got Geraldo Perdomo, our shortstop. Would love to have him back. While I'm pulling up Perdomo here, I did hear, another shortstop we have that's recovering right now is Jordan Lawler. And I think he's out with a thumb or some type of hand injury. But I guess Lovella was saying he's been at every single game. So he's with the club, taking it very seriously. I think that's good, man. I think that means he wants to be out there. He wants to be contributing and a team player at that. So, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't. I'd like to think I'd do the same thing. But what do we have here, guys? We got Diamondback. We got a Culver's ad. Fuck. Diamondbacks Geraldo Perdomo could begin hitting this week by CBS Fantasy. Diamondbacks manager Torey Lovullo said Sunday that he believes Perdomo knee will start hitting this week. Alex Weiner of Arizona Sports reports Perdomo has already started some baseball activity, including fielding grounders and throwing. A rehab assignment for the shortstop could follow his return to the batting cages, but a timeline for his return to the MLB has not yet been established. So again, I might have to go back and check out that Jack Summers article, but I failed to see how we're rushing players back if we're doing what you got to do the rehab assignments, you got to do the throwing drills and the batting cages. I mean, I'm sure there's some protocol for that, but again, we just put, or not that long ago, what was it? We put Eduardo Rodriguez on the 60-day IL. I think he was initially slated to not even be out that long, and then he just kind of kept hitting setback after setback. So they said, hey, for the sake of the season as a whole, let's kind of slow roll it. I would much rather have a healthy Eduardo Rodriguez than a 50% Eduardo Rodriguez. I mean, I would assume that was their thinking there. Well, so Perdomo, going to be really happy to have him back when he's able to make it. Talking about Rodriguez, Diamondbacks Lovullo gives encouraging updates on Rodriguez, Sewald. This is from 3 days ago on May 5th. So obviously we know Sewald came back. But veteran pitchers Eduardo Rodriguez and Paul Sewald were in Arizona Diamondbacks clubhouse Sunday morning, and the manager, blah, 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 blah. Rodriguez is further out on the 60-day injury list with the shoulder strain, but Lovullo said the starter will have another MRI this week and could start throwing in the bullpen shortly after that. Don't know if I see it here, but I think I saw a Torey Lovullo quote. Yeah, here we go. Lovullo said Rodriguez told him he was not feeling pain. So that's great. That's great. This guy's not feeling any pain. He's getting his MRIs. He's going to do his rehab, and we'll have him back in the lineup to join Zach Gallen, who threw an absolute fucking gem yesterday. Gallen threw a gem. Let's not mince any words about it. So we'll have him. We'll have Eduardo Rodriguez. Jordan Montgomery, I imagine, will come into form. And then Merrill Kelly. What's up with Merrill Kelly? I actually didn't think about this. I know Merrill Kelly's out right now. Are there any updates on his injury? Man, it's tough being Torey Lovullo right now. Am I right? Like, Torey Lovullo has just got to answer question after question about who's injured, what's their status, when are they coming back? And man, it's got to be exhausting. It's got to be. All right, let's pull this up here. So this was within another article on Arizona Sports. Diamondbacks acquire reliever Matt Bowman, move Merrill Kelly to 60-day injury list. So Kelly got bumped back to the 60-day. I don't think there's any update on the status of his injury. Kelly was placed on the injured list April 23rd with a right shoulder strain. Manager Torey Lovullo expressed concern the injury would be longer than a short-term stint on the injured list, indicating the timeline could take up an extended chunk of the regular season. So again, guys, I fail to see how they're rushing players back. I think they are really smart about the way they've managed this team the past 2 years. When you're talking about Torey Lovullo and Mike Hazen, they're putting the pieces in place and they're doing it right. Yeah, sure. That was awkward. I apologize. I got this new mouse and there's like, can you see? There's these buttons on the side, and when my thumb bumps it, it goes back. So it kicked me out. I apologize. Thank you if you stuck around, or if you're playing back, I'm sorry for those few seconds of awkward silence as I was mid-sentence and probably lost my train of thought. But I think, if I'm not wrong, I was talking about how they're not rushing these guys back. They're doing it right. And the way Mike Hazen and Torey Lovullo have built and managed this team is they understand that. That's right. I was going to look up the standings. MLB standings. Now I know the Padres are kind of starting to come into their own a little bit, but the Diamondbacks are 17-20 after today. So 3 games behind the Padres at this point. Not great. Of course, the Dodgers are starting to run away with it, kind of like we expected. They're at 26-13, just absolutely rolling it in their last 10, 8-2. Diamondbacks are just 5-5 in their last 10. So I don't think they fully found their stride. Of course, Corbin Carroll had a pretty slow start to the beginning of the season, but I think he's kind of starting to finally figure it out. Right now, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is in a bit of a slump. I think he's hitting like 2 of 40 in his last few appearances or whatever, but it's the ebbs and flows, right? I mean, we knew it wasn't going to be easy, especially as we mix and match and plug and play guys and have to rely on guys like Blaze Alexander and other pieces that we didn't expect to be not even just everyday contributors, but contributors at all. I mean, if everyone's healthy, is Blaze Alexander even called up? I don't know. I'm not too sure, but I don't, at the end of the day, I don't think they're rushing back. I'm glad to see some guys are getting healthy, but it sucks hearing the news of like Kelly going down and watching guys slump. It's going to take some time, but it's a long season. I mean, we're only in May, so we still got a long ways to go, a long road ahead of us, less than 40 games into the season. Plenty of time for us to get it back on track. What does that give us? If my math's right, Ian, what is that? 142 games left for the Diamondbacks to get right. So, or no, I always think 182, but it's 162, right? It will be season length. I should know this. 162. Okay. So 162 game season. So they have 122 games left to figure this out. I don't think it's impossible. And yeah, maybe we don't get Kelly back until July or a little bit later on, but yeah, I'll take the good with the back. Yes, 162. Thank you, Ian. I always mash together the NBA 82 with the MLB having over 100 games. It's a long season, guys. It's a long season. So buckle in, Diamondbacks fans. Here at Valley Sports Plug, we do a Arizona Diamondbacks recap every 2 weeks. We just got one out last week for you with an update. That was me, VSP Tallman, and Michael Benjamin. And we'll have another one coming out next week for you. So I'm sure we'll have more injury updates and more to talk about. Definitely going to talk about this series with the Reds and how they're doing. And I'm looking forward to that one, as well as, guys, I don't know if you know this, but aside from, like I think I've already mentioned the roundtables, we're going to be doing our in-person Heat Check podcast coming up in a few weeks here. We'll get that out before the end of the month. We do one of those every single month, and that is available on Spotify as well as here on YouTube. And yeah, we're just going to keep bringing you guys content and let us know what you think. Ian says Dbacks got time to figure it out, and Padres have plenty of time to blow it. That is right. That is absolutely right. We thought the Padres were world beaters last year, right? We looked at their roster on paper: Xander Bogaerts, Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis, Yu Darvish, man. They look like killers on paper, but they don't always show up, and they aren't the world beaters that we thought they were. Now, are they doing a little bit better this season? Sure. But as Ian said, plenty of time for them to blow it. And like, we're dealing with injuries, not that I wish injuries on anyone, but there's plenty of time for the Padres or whoever, the Giants, whoever's going to be on our heels to fuck it up. Well, actually, let me go look at a more bigger picture here. So that we can kind of get a bit of an idea of what because let's be honest, guys, the Diamondbacks, they're not gonna win the division. We're not gonna beat the Dodgers. We know that. We've talked about it at length. We have a pretty firm understanding at this point that our only path to the playoffs is through the wild card. Now, with that being said, we're not just competing within the division anymore at that point. We're also competing with the rest of the league, or the National League anyway. So here I'm looking at this is the wild card standings. Right now, the Atlanta Braves have the top spot in the wild card. Then you got the Chicago Cubs right behind them, and the San Diego Padres. Diamondbacks are what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th on this list, but they're tied. They're tied with the Padres technically. It looks like, I guess, however that works out. But fuck, is it the Phillies that are beating the Braves? Is that how that division works? Yeah, the Phillies are just absolutely on a tear. That was embarrassing. You guys almost saw me spill water all over myself. I'm fucking thirsty. Leave me alone. But yeah, so having to compete with the Braves for a wild card spot is kind of scary. The Cubs are looking really good this season, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for us to beat out those other teams, Padres, Nationals, Mets. I mean, are any of those teams crazy good? I mean, Ian can tell us the Mets are going to Met. I mean, honestly, I'm not too worried about it. How many teams make MLB wild card? It's 3, right? 3 teams. Yeah, so 3 teams. So really, we don't have to beat the Braves. We don't have to beat the Cubs. We just have to beat the Padres, Nationals, and Mets. The Pirates, I mean, you guys know I'm a bit of a Pittsburgh guy. Pirates aren't going to do shit. Pirates really aren't going to do shit. They're kind of like the Mets in a way. The Bucks are going to buck, as we say. I am kind of somewhat intrigued, though. They are calling up their rookie, Paul. I might fuck up his name. Skeens, I think it is. Paul Skeens, the kid from LSU. I think he was drafted #1 overall. Blue and orange, New York's cursed color scheme. You heard it here first. Is that also an Islanders reference? Islanders aren't very good, are they? Yeah. Either way. What did I just say? What was I talking about, guys? I don't know. Oh, yeah, the Pirates. Yeah, Paul Skeens. Yeah. So he's going to make his MLB debut on Saturday against the Cubs, actually, hilariously enough. And he's been killing it. He's been absolutely killing it in AAA. I'm pretty sure he has a sub 1.0 ERA. I think last time I saw it was like 0.86 or something ridiculous like that. Oh, yeah. How could I forget the fucking Knicks have that blue and orange color scheme? Yeah. So, and we see how are the Mets doing it, or the Knicks doing in the playoffs. I'm pretty sure not great. Pretty sure they're doing okay, actually. They're up 2-0 on the Pacers. They actually just beat them today, 121-130, to take the lead in that series. Okay. But while we're, get derailed here for a second and actually maybe just transition into our next topic a little bit, I didn't really prepare to talk about this, but I did see it today before I was getting ready here. For some reason, there's a lot of talk. I think someone had made the comment. Let's see if I can find it. Someone made a comment about Jalen Brunson being a superstar, and people going as far as to say that he's better than Devin Booker, which, I mean, I don't get why we got to do this whole comparison game thing, but man, Devin Booker is just the most underrated, most hated NBA player that I can think of. I mean, the dude has done nothing but put up numbers, and he just is continually criticized. And yeah, he doesn't have a chip to show for it, of course. I mean, he has a finals appearance. Does Jalen Brunson have a finals appearance? I'm not so sure. Okay, so I shouldn't be shocked. I shouldn't be shocked by this at all. Guys, honestly, absolutely fucking hilarious. Nick Wright is the one who made this idiotic point. Fuck, Nick Wright is a dumb fuck. I'm sorry. Nick Wright is so fucking stupid. He said, I think Jalen Brunson is better than Devin Booker and Damian Lillard. What do we got here? Yes, he is. That is pretty obvious right now at this moment. Jalen is better. Easy, young man. Some ads. How are you going to argue Fox and Mitchell being better than Brunson as part of your argument? Brunson cooked Mitchell in the So yeah, Nick Wright is one of these talking heads that gets on there and kind of like I'm doing now. He just rants off the top of his dome, and I'm sure I've said some stupid shit tonight. But man, Nick Wright, dog, come on. I'm not trying to take anything away from Jalen Brunson. He's a special player. He balled out this year. And if I could find it, I'm pretty sure there was a post I saw on here that was comparing how many shots Jalen Brunson shoots versus how many shots Devin Booker shoots. Here it is. Perfect. Let me pull this up for you guys. So Jalen Brunson's field goal average in 2024 playoffs. So you see 26 shots, 29 shots, 13, 18, 18 to 34, 15 to 32, 13 to 20. So he's shooting 25 plus shots a game. And then Booker, I know small sample size, 4 games. We lost every single one of them, but 5 of 16, 6 of 13, 8 of 15, 13 of 21. Much better percentage than Jalen Brunson. And Devin Booker, yeah, if he went out there and shot 25, 30 shots a game, he could do that. He could probably have a pretty good percentage, but is that gonna translate into wins for the Phoenix Suns? Ian says Brunson is undoubtedly a superstar, but he's mellow in point guard form. Yes. I mean, honestly, like did Devin Booker by himself lead the Suns to any type of meaningful success? No. So I guess that's fair, but Brunson hasn't done it alone either. I mean, he's always had another superstar and other star players paired with him. I mean, right now he's got Julius Randle, who's an absolute killer. What is it? Mitchell Robinson's been doing pretty good. I mean, obviously there's always going to be other players on teams, but who was the best player that Devin Booker was paired up before we got like the Chris Pauls and the Kevin Durant's and the Bradley Beals? Who was the best player he got to play with? Was it Eric Bledsoe? Tyson Chandler? Honestly, like Devin Booker early in his career didn't have shit for support. And so what this guy's point here, if Booker attempts more than 25 shots a game, then the team loses while he plays well. He gets buried to the ground with hate. Book hate is getting out of hand. It is. And I don't understand it because Booker, you know, I get that he is he's a polarizing guy on the court, right? Because he'll chirp at other players, he'll chirp at the officials, he'll do his fair share of whining, but dude, everyone whines. Luka whines, LeBron complains, Joel Embiid complains. I mean, I'm pretty sure one of the only guys who doesn't complain is now 3-time MVP Nikola Jokic. He just kind of shrugs his shoulders and lumbers back down the court. I find it really hard to hate Nikola Jokic, honestly. I really don't want to like him, and I'm not going to go as far as to say I do like Nikola Jokic to get derailed again. But, man, 3-time MVP, so it's 21, 22, and now 24. Honestly, probably should have won it last year too, but they gave it to Joel Embiid just because it's an unwritten rule that nobody's allowed to win the MVP award 3 years in a row, and we all know that. But yeah, the Devin Booker hate is just unreal. Seems real, largely unwarranted. I mean, you gotta respect the guy. Yeah, he does have a 70-point game under his belt. Yeah, that was in a loss. Yeah, but yeah, that was in the shit days of the Suns when we had the Eric Bledsoes and the fucking. I can't even. I was so traumatized from that era, guys, that I have like completely blocked it out of my memory. I don't even want to think about that team anymore, and I don't even want to think about how we could end up back in that situation. Just makes me nervous. But more Suns news that I think is important to talk about. Where is it here? So Chad Ochocinco was recently on somebody's podcast. I want to say Shannon Sharp or something like that, and he's stirring the pot. Former NFL receiver Chad Ochocinco, formerly known as Chad Johnson, says Kevin Durant has spoken about interest in playing for the Miami Heat. Hell of a headline there, guys. I think that could use some work. But so it says the Kevin Durant to the Miami Heat speculation will only heat up after former NFL receiver Ochocinco recent comments. A Miami native. Okay, so not biased at all. Just a native of Miami, probably a Heat fan. Ochocinco said he has spoken with Durant about joining the Heat this offseason. Ochocinco discussed the issue during an appearance on Tuesday's appearance with Shannon Sharp. Who wrote this article? Shondell Richardson? Okay. Here's what Ochocinco said when Shannon Sharp asked why Durant would be a good pick. Here, why don't I think we can play this, right? Let's do it.
State. After Golden State, he went to Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
What makes you think he want to go to Miami now?
Because I talked to him. I talked to KD, and I know KD gonna see this, and KD can attest to this, and you could talk about it tomorrow on First Take. I talked to KD. KD and I had a lengthy conversation. Listen, I'm not into basketball, and people like KD and LeBron and some of these other players that I know, they confided me, and I asked if it was okay to talk about it tonight on Nightcap, and just so happened, boom, it comes up.
Right.
And he said, you know what, he would have no problem coming down to Miami if it made sense. And what piece?
Okay, so he would have no problem coming down to Miami if it made sense. I think it was Cameron Cox, local news sports anchor. He said, if it made sense, I'd go to the moon. Same thing, right? If it made sense, I would move my whole family to Paris. That's a nothing statement. That's an absolute nothing fucking statement. Like, and honestly, if you're Kevin Durant, do you think you have any better of a shot winning another championship in Miami than you do here in Phoenix? I mean, really, honestly, what do the Heat? The Heat got Jimmy Butler. They got Tyler Hero. Am I missing something here? Am I missing something? You have Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. I'm not even going to mention Nurkic. I guess that's not fair. But who knows? Like, I guess the idea is like Kevin Durant's impatient and kind of, you can say, ring chasing at this point. But he made such a stink to get here, to just play a season and a half to turn around and be like, yeah, trade me to Miami. It just seems absolutely absurd to me. Like, in what world does that make sense to anybody? And he can say he talked to him and he thinks it's gonna happen, but it's not. Because I mean, if you do that, right, you can talk about pairing him up with Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero and whatever. But what are they gonna give the Suns in return for the $50 million or $56 million or whatever the fuck Kevin Durant's contract is going to be next season? What are the Heat going to be able to give the Suns that will even come close to being fair compensation for that? Not a goddamn thing is what the answer is. So this is an absolute nothing burger. And I think, let me see if I can find another article here, because obviously people got to talk about this. Here's from, and again, from Arizona Sports, why Kevin Durant trade rumor season is in full effect for the Suns. Visible frustration from Durant, others playing on the Suns team that is still apparently determining if head coach Frank Vogel will keep his job. Do you guys think that's the case? I think they would have fired him by now. I mean, maybe they're waiting for the playoffs to be done to really make that decision. But when building the team for next year and planning for next year starts now. Ian said, welcome to where I was 2 years ago, LMAO. Yeah, okay. Fair. If anyone doesn't know, Ian's from New York, big Nets fan. We love to have him on to talk about the Nets. We were heavy having all these conversations 2 years ago. That is true. That is true. I mean, you're right. But I think if you look at it, though, Ian, Kevin Durant was the last domino to fall there, right? It was because I'm pretty sure Harden left first, right? He went to Philadelphia. And so now maybe my memory is a little fuzzy, but I'm pretty sure Kyrie went to Dallas before Kevin Durant. Could be wrong there. But it had already like fully imploded. And I just don't know if this Suns team is at the same level of implosion as that Nets team was. And I guess somewhat comparable of a big three, though, right? I mean, in that analogy, would that make Bradley Beal our James Harden? Thank you. Appreciate it. Glad someone agrees. No, I think if you're Kevin Durant, you got to give it one more shot. You gotta sit James Jones and Devin Booker down. You got to decide if Frank Vogel's the guy. You got to decide what you do with Bradley Beal, and you got to get a fucking point guard, guys. We absolutely need a fucking point guard. I don't know how or what they were thinking as to why we thought it was a good idea to go through an entire season without a true point guard and letting two guys that are pure shooters and genuine bona fide shooting guards in Bradley Beal and Devin Booker thinking that, they're good enough. They're guards. We'll put them in there. Dissecting trade. Okay, so Ian said, I more just mean dissecting trade rumors. Yeah. It's interesting. I think a move is going to be made. I just don't think that Kevin Durant is going to be the one leaving. It's funny. There were also trade rumors I saw with Devin Booker. You guys know, like, my brother Matt that comes on here, he loves to send us all these trade. Like he loves the trade machine. He's got it bookmarked on his phone. He opens it up every morning and he tries to see what trades he can do, what teams he can rip off today. I got to give Matt some credit. Some of them do make sense. Some of them are some good deals. Brings us in some point guards. But at the end of the day, they're mostly pipe dreams. And not just Matt. Everyone does this. I mean, just with the Cardinals, there was one floating around where it was some Cowboys fan page. They were posting about, should the Cowboys trade for James Conner? He was a 2-time Pro Bowl running back, and I think he could really help out the Cowboys running situation. And the trade scenario they proposed was James Conner for a 5th-round draft pick. One singular 5th-round draft pick. Like, excuse me, do you guys not know who James Conner is and how important he is to this Arizona Cardinals team? Like, you got to be either living under a rock or just fucking stupid to think that that trade would ever happen. I mean, if we were to trade James Conner, I can guarantee you, I would bet my entire house and my car and all of my worldly possessions that it would be way more than one singular 5th-round pick. That is just the dumbest shit I ever heard. And maybe it's a troll. Maybe I'm taking the bait. Probably am. But more to the point in what I was making with talking about the Suns and the Devin Booker trade rumors is one of them was sending Devin Booker to the Knicks, ironically enough, to be paired up with Jalen Brunson. I don't know if we were getting, who is it? The power forward. Why is his name escaping me? I just said it like 5 minutes ago. Julius Randle. Getting Julius Randle. So, I mean, sure. Julius Randle's good, but no, any Suns fan knows that we would like to have Devin Booker here for the long haul. We know him, as many NBA players, idolizes Kobe Bryant, and I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, Book has gone on the record saying that he wants to be that one team player like Kobe Bryant was. But for those of you who are older than probably 25 years old, will remember Kobe Bryant being disgruntled with the Lakers at times, and there being plenty of rumors of him leaving and going to a different team or demanding a trade. And they made it work. They found a way to bring it back. Raymond says, make IT the full-time point guard. Honestly, man, I'm not opposed to it. I'm honestly not opposed to it. I think he did all right when he came in this last season. And if you're not looking for IT to score and just distribute, the only thing I worry about is IT on defense. Like, yeah, he's pretty scrappy. He's pretty quick, but the height, the size thing could make it a little bit tough. Now, IT as the second stringer, I could buy into that. A guy that I thought might have been a good fit last year was John Wall. He has familiarity with Bradley Beal. Now, he has obviously a slew of injuries and injury history as well, but so does fucking Brad Beal. So does Kevin Durant. Like, guys are going to get hurt. It's the nature of the game. And what do you have to lose by bringing John Wall in on a veteran minimum, seeing what you got? Now, maybe they did tinker with the idea. Maybe they toyed with it and they just didn't like it, didn't see where he fit into this team. I know I had mentioned it to Mike one time during the season, and he didn't like it. He was one of the guys that said, no John Wall, absolutely not. Because you kind of think of John Wall as a scorer, and that's fair. But if you go back and watch tape, John Wall is a fucking distributor too. I mean, you aren't one of the best point guards to ever do it. And maybe that's a bombastic statement, but you aren't a great point guard without the ability to pass the ball. I just don't think it's possible. But at the same time, there is a reason probably that John Wall is not signed to a team right now. But they're going to have options. I mean, Chris Paul, I'm pretty sure, no longer going to be with the Golden State Warriors. And he was really the catalyst of turning this whole team around. Now, yes, Chris Paul is now 39 years old. Happy birthday, Chris Paul. 2 days ago, he turned 39 years old. And, oh, so they haven't even waived him yet. I thought they waived him already. Let's see what we got here. So you can save with Verizon. Okay, Warriors could opt to waive Chris Paul during the summer. Chris Paul has 1 year remaining on his 4-year, $120 million deal. However, that final year is not guaranteed. Paul could enter the free agency market with the Golden State Warriors reportedly looking to duck under the luxury tax. However, for that to happen, the Warriors must waive the final year of his deal. This is a quote here. The easiest of the Warriors' hard decisions seems to be waiving Chris Paul. Paul has seen $30 million contract for the next season. If Golden State was still competing for titles, the prudent strategy would be to guarantee Paul's deal and to use that $30 million as salary matching in a trade. So Warriors are going to have some options. I think they'll probably move off of him. I mean, it didn't really make much sense for them to have him in the first place. Of course, obviously, having Steph Curry being their main point guard. And it's like, why are you going to pay your backup second string point guard $30 million? Or why are you going to have Steph Curry be a shooting guard when he has done nothing but prove that he is not Jamal. Steph Curry is one of the best point guards to ever do it, hands down. And again, he's aging. And it's funny. You guys probably saw a lot of the compilations talking about the end of an era as the old guard got bounced out of the playoffs, man. I mean, you saw obviously the Suns, Kevin Durant, LeBron and the Lakers get bounced out with Anthony Davis. The Warriors, they got bounced out in the play-in tournament. So I don't know, guys. There's gonna be some decisions to make, but maybe, just maybe, you can trade Bradley Beal and get a point guard. I don't know. Maybe. It's funny. There's so many people that seem to think that the Suns have 0 draft picks for the next 6 years, when that is just absolutely not true. We have a first-round pick this year. Believe it's not tradable. Now, do I expect a guy getting drafted in the late teens or early 20s to be a significant contributor? Maybe not. But you could get something. You get something. I know there's talks about Zach Edey. That rumor has been swirling heavily. There's a big body guy that can get you rebounds. But we talked about it. It was either on Pass the Outlet or the Heat Check podcast. I think the Heat Check last week. Just a little slow, guys. Don't know if his game would quite translate to the NBA level. Regardless, the Suns are going to have a lot of decisions to make this offseason. Ian says Suns could always find out if Ty Lawson is sober. Who is that guy that used to play for the Dodgers that they're still paying his contract just to keep him alive? They found him, Ian, you'll know this. They found him at an airport or something after being missing for 5 days. But no, what's Ty Lawson doing? So Ty Lawson's 36. So Ty Lawson's younger than Chris Paul. Oh, so he's one of these guys going on Gilbert Arenas' podcast. So he's probably been hit. Yeah, here you go. Andrew Tolles. Yeah. So I don't know what I was making with that Tolles point. Is Ty Lawson like the Andrew Tolles of basketball? Or is he just... Wait, what the fuck? I thought Ty Lawson was black. What is this? Sorry, this is going to make more sense. I'll pull this up here. Oh, wrong article. That was the one we were just looking at. Nuggets point guard Ty Lawson gets arrested for his second DUI this year. Oh, no. Okay, Ty Lawson is black. Well, I brought that up because that's Mr. Orange. Is that Mr. Orange? Hold on, guys. Is that... Yeah, that is Mr. Orange. That is that's funny. I mean it's not, it is funny though. I'm sorry. But yeah, no, point guard situation, Suns have to address it. They have to do something. I do expect moves to be made. Don't think they fire Frank Vogel. I mean, we talked about it, guys. The optics are just so bad. You're going to go through 2 head coaches in a season and a half. Ian said, Jesus, Ty Lawson drank himself ginger. Yeah, it's like when you drink too much and you're feeling sick, you kind of start to lose color a little bit. He just lost a lot of color somehow. That's crazy. Grew a beard too. Grew a big old beard. But yeah, what do we got? I think we got one more topic I kind of wanted to touch on. I didn't do as much prep on this, but I figure while I'm ranting and complaining about stuff, let me just pull up an article to accompany this so we can go out with a bang here. I'm sure you guys have heard by now that the Minnesota Timberwolves are beating the Denver Nuggets 2-0 in their playoff series so far. It's a best of 4. So the reigning NBA champions are going to have to get it together. Oh, Denver Post, are you going to let me read this? Okay, here we are. Jamal Murray. Ah, come on. Don't look at my email. If you need it, it's christopher.p.heath@gmail.com. Inquiries, you can send it to me, whatever. Or valleysportsplug@gmail.com. You can also send us tips, articles, suggestions there. If you don't want to leave them in the comments, I always tell you guys to leave your suggestions in the comments. You guys are hooking it up today. What do we got, Raymond? I heard Darvin Ham is available if you guys cut vote. How did Darvin Ham even get that job? Who is Darvin Ham? did he play in the league? He did. He played for the Nuggets and the Pacers and the Wizards and overseas. And okay. So yeah, going back to the very first topic about guys who are perennial role players. I mean, maybe I'm not right about Darvin Ham, but it sounds like he had a pretty long career from 96 to 2008. No, okay, 96 to 05 in the NBA. So that's still what, a 9-year career in the NBA. You know, back then not making it much, but with inflation, whatever, adjusted. Probably happy he was in the NBA and not the NFL. But yeah, no, Darvin Ham, probably not going to be on my radar there. Some interesting coaching names I've heard thrown out there. I don't know if the Lakers are pursuing him, but JJ Redick, I heard his name was in the hat last year when teams were looking to hire a new head coach. Of course, he hasn't coached before, but it's not unheard of. I mean, we've seen Jason Kidd go from playing to coaching. We saw Steve Nash take his stab at it. Didn't quite work out very well, but you never know. I mean, I don't know, but at the same time, I think you need a coach with experience to when you consider yourself to be in a championship window and you have superstars like Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. I don't think you want to give the keys to a first-time head coach and try and have him figure it out. I think where they kind of went wrong with the Vogel thing is, yeah, he improved our defense tremendously, but he didn't really do anything for our offense. Mike has said it before. It really didn't seem like the Suns were running any set plays this last season or have really much of an offensive identity. It's like the identity just ended up being ISO ball. It's like you got these 3 stars. So yeah, just take turns going ISO. So it was Kevin Durant, faders from the high post, Devin Booker driving the lane, Bradley Beal driving the lane, kickouts. I mean, it was just a very basic offense, and I think that was one of the biggest detriments. Ian says, my boy Kenny Atkins has kids to feed. Yeah, so Kenny does technically have coaching experience, right, Ian? So maybe he could be on the list of candidates, but that's the unfortunate part of it is I don't think there's a really deep list of potential candidates that we can go out and look to grab to address this need. So I think you ride with Frank Vogel. You give him one more year. I think you probably give Kevin Durant one more year as well, which really sucks. Because I think if we come up short next year, if we make it to the playoffs and get eliminated, like I don't even care. Like if we make the Western Conference, I think it's championship or bust for this team as we see it today. It's next season is it. This is the last chance. If you aren't making the finals at the very least, blow it up. You keep Devin Booker. Always keep Devin Booker, but see ya Beal, see ya Durant. I mean, didn't we just about do that this last season? The only guy coming back from the season before was Devin Booker and Kevin Durant and a few other minor role players. And I know there was some guys like Ish Wainwright who came and went throughout the season, but we've done nothing but blow this team up for the last 2-3 seasons. So why the fuck would we continue to do that? It's like, I know that there are adjustments that need to be made, but I don't think blowing this team up is the right move because that was the whole conversation, right? Is how are these guys going to build chemistry and get a cohesive unit together in a short, like half a season last year, and then with a full season this year, but with guys coming in and out of the rotation. I mean, Bradley Beal didn't play for like half the fucking season. Devin Booker was out for a significant amount of time. The only guy who was the most reliable, and surprisingly so, was Kevin Durant. Ian, would you have guessed that Kevin Durant would have been the most healthy player on the Suns team when we started this journey a year and a half ago? Wouldn't have been me. Certainly wouldn't have been me. But I did want to move on to talking about this topic before Raymond decided to derail me with that fucking Darvin Ham comment. The Nuggets, guys, they're down 2-0 against the Timberwolves, and Jamal Murray has been fined $100,000, but avoids the suspension. Ian says, fuck no. Yeah, nobody would have guessed it. Nobody would have guessed that Kevin Durant would have been the most healthy player on the Suns. Absolutely crazy. But here we see Nuggets guard Jamal Murray was fined $100,000, but avoided a suspension after tossing a towel and then a heating pad in the direction of an official during Denver's 106-80 Game 2 loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves on Monday. Guys, $100K fine, no suspension for throwing a heating. He threw shit at the official. Again, I don't know if you're old enough to remember this, but Steve Nash got hip checked, physically assaulted into the scorer's table What did Amari do? He got off the bench and stepped onto the court, him and Boris Diaw. And what happened? Did they get a fine? Maybe, but they also got suspended, which cost us the series. What kind of fucking championship privilege is this? This is clear bias that the NBA is showing. Adam Silver is the worst commissioner the NBA has ever seen. Like, say what you will about fuck, I forget his name, but whoever the guy was before him, you can say what you will, but fuck Adam Silver, man. This is absolute fucking horseshit. $100K fine. You think Jamal Murray gives a single fuck about $100K fine? Surely he doesn't love it, but I'm sure he would take that compared to getting suspended for a game or two and bringing his chance of winning another championship into jeopardy. It's so fucking ridiculous, guys. Like, that is the first thing I thought of, is like that exact David Stern. It was David Stern, right? Was the former commissioner. He was the one who decided on this is the suspension of Amari Stoudemire. And yeah, maybe the rules were written that way, but I don't think they've changed. A lot of people were really surprised about this. The NBA announced the fine on Tuesday in a release from Joe Dumars, the NBA's executive vice president and head of basketball. Murray tossed the objects on the floor during live play with 4 minutes and 41 seconds remaining in the second quarter. So here you go. Minnesota coach Chris Finch called Murray's act dangerous and inexcusable. Yeah, it is fucking dangerous, because there was nothing dangerous about Amari Stoudemire and Boris Diaw getting off the bench. They didn't go throwing punches. They didn't go chest up with anyone. But Jamal Murray throwing a heating pad, somebody could have slipped on it, stepped on it, could have hit the official. I'm not going to be hyperbolic and say that the official would have been like knocked out or injured from having a heating pad thrown at him, but there are consequences, right? If it was a distraction, it's childish behavior, man. Jamal Murray, how old are you, man? 27 years old, old enough to know better. Absolutely old enough to know better. I just think it's clear bias. It lends itself to the conspiracy theories and the NBA rigged theory, right? Like, people are always talking about the script and, oh, it's rigged for this player and that player. And it's funny, I saw Nick Young, Swaggy P, going in today. I think he's trolling a little bit, but he's saying basically, like, talking about how Jokic and Doncic have privilege in the NBA. And he pointed to Jamal Murray. One of the things was Jamal Murray only getting a $100K fine. Now, I don't know how that is privilege to Jokic. Raymond said Rudy Gobert got a $100K fine for doing the money sign at a ref. Well, I didn't know that. That's fucking hilarious. So, man, that's even more frustrating, right? So you're saying making this gesture and throwing shit on the court is the exact same. It's the exact same thing. So money sign at the official, throwing objects on the court, leaving the bench and stepping onto the court is just so much worse. It's absolutely so much worse. Give me a fucking break. I'm not going to be full tinfoil hat here and say that the NBA is rigged and they're trying to finagle it so certain guys get in. But I think it just points to clear bias. And I mean, what else has Rudy Gobert done? He touched a microphone with COVID. Yeah, stupid as fuck. Did he get fined for that? I don't even remember. They were probably way more concerned with everything else going on at the time. Yeah, guys, I don't know. This shit just pissed me off. I hope that the Nuggets get swept. And if they don't get swept, I hope they lose in 5 or 6. But the Minnesota Timberwolves are just playing out of their fucking minds. And I find a little bit of solace in these situations when your team gets swept or embarrassed. Having the team that did that to them find success, it's like, okay, like with the Nuggets last year, it's like they eliminated the Suns. So it's like, all right, they were good. They won the championship. So we lost to the championship team. So that makes us feel better. So if the Timberwolves run the table and win the finals, it's like, okay, the best team beat us. It wasn't like the fucking Dallas Mavericks. Ian said, Raymond did the money sign at me and I've been in therapy ever since. Oh no, Ian. Was that after you walked 3 players straight in softball? I'm just kidding. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but pitching in slow pitch softball is fucking hard. All the props to Ian. I tried it, and I probably gave up 4 or 5 walks. I'm pretty sure I walked in a run. Because in this league, I don't know if it's the same. It's probably the same, but you got to get it like between 6 and 12 feet at the arc or something like that. And then it's hard. It's fucking hard. And these guys, they're throwing underhand and backspin, and they've been doing it for 15 years with all their friends. It's fucking hard. But that's pretty rude that Raymond did the money sign at you. I'm not sure. We're going to have a talk with him. and have a talk with him. Guys, you can check out the Valley Sports Plug softball page. Nico had set that up for us. I'm not quite sure of the @ right now off the top of my head. I do apologize. As myself personally, I am not on Instagram. Valley Sports Plug is, Michael Benjamin is, VSP Tallman are, but I am not. But I'm pretty sure within our link tree, you can find that link and go ahead and check out so you can see what the Valley Sports Plug softball team is doing and what we're all about. Guys, I thank you so much for joining me. Ian, Raymond, Nico, everyone who chimed in the chat. Shout out Drama in the chat. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And let me know, is this something I should do more? Was it fun listening to me rant and rave for an hour? I'm surprised, honestly. I told my wife this will probably be 45, 60 minutes. I really don't know how I'm going to go on for an hour, but we did it. We did it. I don't know if it made sense. I'm going to listen to this back and see how stupid I sounded, but I had fun doing it. So let me know if we should do this again, and we'll bring it back. But I'm going to pull up this little outro video and we'll get out of here. Guys, make sure you're following us at AZ_VSP on all of the social media, and like and subscribe here on YouTube. We'll be back next week with a new live stream for you, as well as a Diamondbacks recap. So make sure you tune in. I think I said already, like and subscribe. But thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Peace.